The Star Wars galaxy is packed with planets of all kinds. Some worlds are bustling with life and opportunity, while others are harsh, unforgiving, and downright lethal. From extreme climates to deadly creatures, and from violent crime lords to ancient dark powers, these planets are places you'd want to avoid at all costs. In no particular order, here are the 10 most dangerous planets in all of Star Wars. Kashyyyk. A lush forest planet, Kashyyyk is the homeworld of the mighty Wookiees. While they've adapted well to the environment, most others wouldn't survive. The planet is layered with huge warsher trees that cover most of its landscape. The Wookiees have built most of their cities into the upper levels of the trees, like Kachiro and Rookroro. From a distance, it's actually quite beautiful. However, it gets deadlier and deadlier the deeper and lower you go into the forests. Creatures like Katarns, webweavers, and Wyshock will attack you on sight. The deepest levels are known as the Shadowlands, and they're shrouded in mystery and danger. The Rosher trees grow so tall that sunlight barely touches the forest floor. The Wookiees believe that the deep forest is tied to ancient forces and dark energies. They also consider it a place of self-discovery. So many young Wookiees descend to the Shadowlands as a rite of passage, confronting the dangers to prove their worth. Whether you're high in the trees or deep below, Kashyyyk's unpredictable weather also possesses a threat. Heavy rainstorms often cause flash floods, and slippery conditions make it easy to fall from the trees. Most off-worlders who don't have much knowledge of the planet get lost or fall prey to the natural hazards. Dagobah. Located in the Sluis sector of the Outer Rim territories, Dagobah is a remote, swamp-covered planet, and it is where Yoda went into hiding after the fall of the Jedi Order and the rise of the Galactic Empire. While it's quiet and desolate, it's undoubtedly one of the most dangerous planets in the galaxy due to its harsh environment, deadly creatures, and the Cave of Evil, which is a living Force Vergence strong in the dark side. A Vergence, or a Force Nexus, is an unusual yet naturally occurring concentration of Force energy that centers around a single place, object, or person. The Cave of Evil's dark energy surrounds the area with a sense of dread, while also attracting dangerous plants and creatures. If someone enters the cave, it projects their worst fears as illusions. The planet goes through 2 seasons, a dry and a wet season. During the dry season, the uplands become too hot for most life forms to survive, causing everything to migrate to the lower lands. During the wet season, rains return and flood the lowlands. Dagobah's landscape is an endless swamp with uneven terrain. The constant fog also reduces visibility, making it easy to get lost. You then need to watch out for creatures like dragon snakes, bogwings, and swamp slugs. It's one of the few planets in the galaxy with no sentient species present. With no civilization around, you're forced to live off the land, even though most of it will be trying to kill you. Exagol. A dark desert planet located within the unknown regions west of the Outer Rim, Exagol was once a fertile planet until the Sith laid waste to it and claimed it as their own. Its dry conditions, combined with the rubbing of dust particles in its atmosphere, cause massive static discharges that look like lightning strikes. The entire planet is constantly plagued by these electrical storms. It's also in a constant state of darkness due to all the storm clouds. The space around Exagol is covered with the remains of megafauna, causing a cloud of red gas and stardust to cover the planet. This is called the Red Honeycomb Zone, and it makes it difficult to navigate the planet. Like Dagobah, Exagol has a dark side vergence. The entire planet is steeped in dark side energy, leading to its oppressive environment. During the Galactic Civil War, Emperor Palpatine made it the breeding ground for the new Sith Empire, with Sith loyalists working in the shadows to create the Final Order. But even after the final battle between the Resistance and the First Order, the planet remains treacherous due to its dark side inclination and the constant electrical storms. There are plenty more dark side planets that we'll mention later in the video, but the dark side isn't the only dangerous force in the Star Wars galaxy. Nar Shaddaa. While the previous planets we've looked at are dangerous due to their natural environments, Nar Shaddaa's dangers come from its lawless society. It's one of the moons of Nal Hutta, which is the homeworld of the Hutts. Well, it's not technically a planet, so much happens on Nar Shaddaa that it fully deserves a spot on this list. Similar to Coruscant, the entire landscape is covered with urban terrain. It's just one massive city. But while Coruscant has law and order, Nar Shaddaa is a crime-ridden hive of illegal activity. It's filled with smugglers, bounty hunters, and crime syndicates. There's no law enforcement or interference from galactic governments, so everyone who lives here embraces that culture. The Hutt cartel controls most of it, so they're the one faction that most of the inhabitants try to stay on the good side of. Luke Skywalker put it best. It's just an entire world of pirates and outlaws. If you take a stroll down the lower city levels, there's nothing stopping someone from shooting you purely because they don't like how you look. Or you may be caught in the crossfire of a gang war. It's just how things operate here. During the Galactic Civil War, the Rebel Alliance considered the moon so dangerous that they refused to send anyone there. It would just be suicide. Tatooine. Speaking of a wretched hive of scum and villainy, we have to mention Tatooine. Since it's far from the core worlds, it's also untouched by galactic governments. It's a hotspot for criminal activity, especially in the towns like Mos Eisley and Mos Espa. You'll see plenty of violence and illegal dealings. For a large part of the planet's history, most of Tatooine was controlled by Jabba the Hutt's criminal empire. And while it shares the same criminal danger of Nar Shaddaa, it also shares the environmental dangers of planets like Kashyyyk and Dagobah. It has 2 suns, subjecting the planet to extreme levels of heat. With no natural water sources, the residents need to get water from moisture farms that draw moisture from the dry air. If that's not bad enough, Jabba the Hutt even imposed a water tax during particularly bad droughts on Tatooine, which he would enforce through the use of bounty hunters like Black Chrysanthemum. Moisture farmers also need to worry about intense sandstorms that can damage equipment. While it's hot during the day, the extreme heat turns to intense cold at night. Venture out from the major towns, and you'll find yourself lost in the Dune Sea, where you'll find krayt dragons, the Sarlacc, or the native Tusken Raiders. Hoth. In contrast to Tatooine's hot climate, Hoth is completely covered in ice and snow. Due to the extreme cold, it's one of the most inhospitable planets in the Star Wars galaxy. Located in the Outer Rim, it was most notably the host of Echo Base, which was the Rebel Alliance's temporary headquarters after the Battle of Yavin. The base itself took 2 years to be constructed by Rebel engineers. They were actually the first faction to successfully establish a base on the planet. Various smuggling rings attempted to set one up before, but that failed due to the extreme weather conditions. By nightfall, the temperature on the planet drops below -60 degrees Celsius or -76 Fahrenheit. Add that to the constant snowstorms and you'll quickly realize why no one lives there. The deadliest creatures on the planet are the Wampas. Wampas are semi-sentient and very aggressive. Come across one and it will attack you on sight. Without a strong shelter, strong external resources, and constant vigilance, surviving on Hoth would be impossible. Mustafar. This hellish world wasn't always the harsh and fiery planet we know it to be. Mustafar was once a garden world brimming with life. It was nourished by a Force artifact called the Bright Star, but someone named Lady Corvax tried to use the Bright Star to bring her husband back to life, and it shifted the planet's orbit. 2 surrounding planets drew closer, and this heated Mustafar's core, turning it into a volcanic hellscape. The planet's surface is dominated by active volcanoes and rivers of molten lava. The scorching heat is enough to melt most materials. The fields of lava are unpredictable, exhibiting sudden eruptions that will destroy anything in close proximity. It's yet another planet with a vergence in the Force, causing most life to supernaturally adapt to the hellish climate. The most dangerous creature to watch out for is the Shur-Kar, a large scorpion-like beast with a speared tail. The ancient Sith came to Mustafar seeking the same secrets of external life that Korvax came close to. They built a temple over the Virgins, which later became Darth Vader's fortress. Not to mention that the planet was also home to the Black Sun crime syndicate. So, with the hostile climate, the dark side influence, and the local crime lords, Mustafar is definitely one of the deadliest worlds to be on. Maldo Kreese. While we haven't seen much of Maldo Kreese in Star Wars, what we have seen is enough nightmare fuel to power any starship. Maldo Kreese is an icy planet located in the Outer Rim. While the climate is cold, the world is also covered in hot springs. You're not likely to freeze to death like you would on Hoth, but there's something much scarier to worry about. The world features large canyons with numerous caves. With no settlements, towns, or villages, these caves are the only destination, but they're home to giant ice spiders that swarm anyone who comes near. They almost killed Din Djarin when he crash-landed on Maldo Kreese after being pursued by New Republic pilots. Compared to the other planets we've looked at, there isn't much worse than Maldo Kreese. It's the one planet that arguably offers the least chance of survival. Felucia. A humid jungle planet, Felucia, like Kashyyyk, has dangers that come from the world's flora and fauna. The entire surface is overrun with a thick, humid jungle made up of various plant species. Most of the plants and creatures on Felucia have developed defense mechanisms to protect them from each other. This makes them hostile to any off-worlder. Basically, when you land on Felucia, most plants and creatures will try to kill you. The biggest threat are the jungle rancors. After that, you need to be careful of the toxic and flesh-eating plants. The planet is home to several infectious diseases that come from the plants. The intense humidity is what makes it easy for those diseases to spread. A journal entry from one of the 501st clone troopers describes the planet perfectly.
On Felucia, the Seps dug their metal heels into the muck of that alien hellhole and dared the Republic to come in after them. So we did. Only to be met with the month after month of flesh-eating diseases, shrieking nocturnal predators, and other sights that haunt me to this day.
Dathomir. While home to various Dathomiri clans, Dathomir is most notably home to the Night Sisters, a group of Force-sensitive witches that practice dark magic. The world is heavily imbued with dark side energy, which the Night Sisters use to control the creatures and environment. This includes possessing people and creating undead soldiers using necromancy. But we've seen through Mother Talzin and Merrin that their powers far exceed just those uses. While they're not necessarily hostile, they're territorial and don't take kindly to people invading their land. Dathomir is also home to various dangerous creatures. It's the native planet to the Rancor, which is one of the largest and most dangerous land-based creatures in the galaxy. The Nidax and Chirodactyls also pose a massive threat. Dathomir became a barren world after the Night Sisters were massacred. However, the looming darkside presence, the Night Sister tombs, and all of the deadly creatures make it a planet that no one wants to visit. But of all these planets, which would you least like to visit or live on? Is there another that we didn't mention? Let me know in the comments. Come join us to chat more at our community Discord server, linked in the description. If you enjoyed today's Star Wars video, we've got more on the screen for you right now. Also make sure to drop a like, and if you're new to the channel, hit subscribe to join the Red Squadron. Until next time, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you. Red 5, standing by.